Hi everyone, we are the Hawaii Language Roadmap, an initiative that sets out to promote the development of a multilingual workforce for the state of Hawaii. There are many opportunities for you to use your language skills out there, and in this Language in the Community series, we help you discover the opportunities that are there for you. Today, we are joined by Shayna Arakaki. She is proficient in Japanese and has worked as a plant protection quarantine aide at the Inouye International Airport. So we have Shayna. Shayna, thank you for joining us today. Um, just for starters, could you just please give us a quick introduction of who you are, a little bit more about your background?
So my name is Shayna. I graduated from UH Manoa this year in May, or sorry, last year in May. And I majored in marine biology. Currently, I'm a plant protection and quarantine officer. But a few months ago, for around like 2.5 years, I was a plant protection quarantine aide. And I grew up in Hawaii my whole life, but my mom is from Kobe, Japan. So I grew up speaking Japanese at home, and so I was proficient. I grew up being proficient in Japanese and English.
Okay, that's cool. So Japanese is your heritage language then, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So since we are the Hawaii Language Roadmap and we do handle the Global Seal of Biliteracy, I do have to ask, do you have your Global Seal of Biliteracy?
I have the regular seal of
A
biliteracy.
regular Seal of Biliteracy. So
Yeah.
you have, okay. So that is for Japanese and that is for what fluency level does it cover?
Um, well, I took the AP exam, which was for it, and then I got a 5 on it. I don't know
Okay.
what level that
Okay,
constitutes for,
so
but
that would
yeah.
classify you as pretty proficient at Japanese.
Okay.
Um, so Uh, so going back to your job, since you were a plant protection quarantine aide in Hawaii, um, and many people might not know what that is. Do you mind briefly describing what plant protection quarantine aide does for those who might not be familiar?
Yeah, so I work for the Department of Agriculture, in the APHIS, so plant protection department of that. What I did was I was at the airport, and I used X-ray machines to scan everybody's bags that are coming through the airport. And I checked for prohibited plant items, like fruits, vegetables, whatever it is. And um, and if I saw something, that looks like a fruit or something that's not supposed to be in the mainland, I would look through the bag, inspect whatever was in there, and depending on what it was, I would confiscate it or just let it go. And the department that I was in, the federal side, we just checked for bags that were going to the mainland, because the things coming into the mainland was the state's area, expertise. So I didn't touch any of that.
Okay. So you were doing this job while you were still in your undergrad. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm actually curious, how did you end up working as like at the airport in the first place?
Um, I heard about it through a friend, or through my dad's friend. And he during that time they were hiring people. They only hire people twice a year, which was in the beginning and the end of the year. So it was perfect timing. For that, I needed either a background 2 years with a federal job, or a background in with credits with biological science credits. And during that time, I think I was a sophomore, and I did have a whole bunch of biology and chemistry credits, so I was able to apply using those credits. And yeah, that's basically how I got the job. They hired me, thankfully, obviously. So yeah.
That's cool. Was the Global Sea of Biliteracy useful in any way in the application process?
Oh yeah. So I had it in my resume, and of course they asked about it during the interview, because it's the airport, and there's so many tourists that come through. So they definitely asked about it, and I knew that was a good thing because then I could say, hey, yeah, I can maybe I don't have the credits you want, but maybe since I speak Japanese. But yeah, they seem to really like that because not that many people can speak Japanese or just a second language in general. And it's helped me get a lot of other jobs too. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I know you had to talk with a lot of people in your job. Uh, can you kind of like describe or like give us a story of a time when you did use your Japanese skills at your job and how it was helpful in that situation?
Oh yeah. So let's see. So this was when I worked, it was during COVID. So there weren't too many tourists at the time, but once we started opening up our borders to them and to the world, there's Japanese tourists. And sometimes, our coworker would be asking them like, hey, do you have any fruits to declare? They don't know what that, they don't know what they're saying. So they're kind of standing there confused. So that's when I would come in and translate for them. And we also worked closely with TSA. The TSA was scanning as they were scanning through people's bags. We were in the back of them looking at the same screen. And so we would see what the TSA people are doing. And sometimes the TSA, they would need to confiscate items from Japanese tourists, but, they're telling them the rules and whatnot, but they won't know, and so there was this one time when it was an altercation because there's a Japanese couple and the TSA worker, and the husband was super angry because he couldn't bring his water bottle and the TSA person wasn't giving it to him, and they were at it for at least 5 minutes. So I'm not TSA, but I went in and I explained them what's happening, and and then eventually, the situation de-escalated and it was fine. But yeah, a lot of things like that happened.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I can see that like you being there is very helpful when it comes to
Yeah.
like preventing
Yeah.
really like a lot of conflict. So I
Yeah.
can see that like having someone who speaks another language is very important
Mhm.
to prevent miscommunication and stuff like that. So that's really cool that you were able to do that. Um so I guess my next question would be did you ever have any worries about using Japanese at work?
Um, I did from time to time, especially I'm talking to the older generation.
Mhm.
Um, I grew up, I grew up talking Japanese at home with my mom, but we would talk in Kansai-ben, and it's not very formal. So, I had to learn the standard proper Japanese, and I did that by working at jobs. I worked at retail, I worked in the food industry, and now I feel a little more comfortable with it. But even at the airport, even when I was comfortable with it, sometimes, I would trip over my words because I'm trying to sound as respectful as I can. Because I know to the older generation, in Japan, I know they're really strict about that.
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
think, so I think, yeah, when it came to that, I think I was a little nervous.
Okay. So you mentioned you did use Japanese in other jobs prior, so that did help
Mhm.
you feel more comfortable by the time you were working at the airport?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I worked in retail first,
Mhm.
and during that time, that's when I started to learn, the proper Japanese. I can't be talking like, I'm talking to my friends, to these customers, or they're gonna get offended somehow.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was a learning curve, but it definitely helped. It got me to practice outside of home. So that was really nice.
That's pretty cool. I think I did hear about you working in retail a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I heard about the story how you got that job. Do you mind sharing that
Oh yeah, of
with?
course. So it was it was like a group interview, but it was just me and this girl. And um that the girl, she has so much this is my first job, I just graduated from high school, I'm 18, like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just in this is my first interview ever, and I'm in there, and the girl next to me, she's worked at different retail stores and she's had all this experience. And when we're doing the interviews, she was answering the questions really, really well. I'm assuming it's because she's been in these interviews before. I haven't. But the thing that my interviewer was really interested in was the fact that I had the seal of biliteracy in my resume, and that I said that I can speak Japanese, and she was really intrigued by that, and she was asking me about it, and so they decided to hire me instead of her. And so when that happened, I was like, okay, like it's a good thing. I took I have the seal of biliteracy is really helpful.
No, it's really cool that like despite all the like the worries you had about the interview, like
Yeah.
that one thing that made you stand out a lot more compared to other
Mhm.
candidates. So I think that's really cool. Let's see. Let's going back to, I guess, just in general, or like back to your job as a climate protection quarantine aide, or just in general. How do you think why do you think it's important to have someone who can speak another language, and in in your line of work, or just in any line of work?
I definitely think it's the connection that you can make with other people when you can speak a different language.
Mhm.
Like for right now, I'm still with the Department of Agriculture and I'm still with the plant protection quarantine side. But now what I do is I certify grains and I certify different grains and produce or whatever is that's going out to international, like going to Mexico or Japan or China or wherever it is. And I'm still in training because I just started, but I'm also going to be helping out one of my coworkers. He specializes in with something called SITSI, which he goes to Asian markets
Mhm.
and he checks to make sure that the things that they're selling are okay to sell to people. Um, and when he does that, there's a huge language barrier because most of the time, they speak Vietnamese or Chinese, and he was telling me sometimes it's kind of hard to tell them, this can't go and why it cannot and whatever and whatnot. So I'm gonna be helping him out once I get on the field with that. I still have to go through all this training stuff, but yeah. So there's that. Um, and I think if I'm able to speak, Japanese, if there is a person selling produce that's not okay and they happen to be Japanese and I'm able to speak to them in Japanese, I feel like, we would both form some level of respect
Mhm.
and a form of connection that my coworker wouldn't be able to have,
Mhm.
and it's not just for my line of work, but it's also for, like especially maybe in the medical field even, like if your client can't speak English, but they can speak Chinese and you can speak Chinese, it's you build a connection. And from there, I feel, it expands, like this person, hey, this doctor or whoever, she can speak Japanese. So, like you should go here. And it kind of helps you out and it helps them out too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Um, so you end up working a lot with your Japanese skills in your while working. Is there anything that you've learned related to like your Japanese skills, like talking with other people? Is there anything that you learned with like along the way?
I guess I learned that it is important and it's a gift to be able to speak a different language because before it was kind of it's like yeah I can speak Japanese whatever there's my friend can speak Chinese same thing but as I started to make connections with people from different from Japan or from here and all because I can speak Japanese it really amazed me. I have one of my best friends, I connected with her and I bonded with her because we could both speak Japanese. And I honestly think I wouldn't have that kind of connection with her uh, if we didn't. And yeah, I learned that it's basically a gift that I have.
That's a nice way to see it. So along the lines of that, is there any words you want to say to those who are also heritage speakers? And like anything you want to say to them?
Don't be ashamed. I've met people who don't want to speak their second language because they're embarrassed or whatever the reason is. It just hinders you, and you're not allowing yourself to open these doors, you know. When you can speak a different language, opens so many doors. Maybe you can't see it, but it's there. And don't be scared, you know. I know some people, they feel like they want to help somebody, but they're not sure if, you know, if they can speak well enough to help them. And, you know, like, don't mind that, you know, it's all right. Just try. And I assure you, the person you're helping is going to be really thankful, and that you actually try to lend a helping hand, you know, even if you're not perfectly, you know, proficient in the language that you're trying to speak.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's why we have these videos so people can see like there are people out here that are using their language skills, their heritage or second language, and they're out here using them, and it helps people, especially in the community. Um, last question. Do you have any advice for those who want to do similar work or want to um go into a career that utilizes their language skills?
Um, I would say to make sure you put whatever experience you have in your resume. um, because it definitely helps. Even if you're gonna apply for something or somewhere where it doesn't specify that you know, they want you to speak a different language, just put it on there. It shows that you can speak another language and that you have a capability, or you're able to do something that most people cannot. And it definitely opens new doors. I'm telling you, like, it definitely gets people talking, and it gets people intrigued, and you shine above the rest, honestly.
That's really good advice. Thank you. Thank you, Shayna, for taking time out of your day. I know it's kind of later in the day now.
No,
Um,
you're good.
but thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing all this stuff. And I'm sure that a lot of people will appreciate hearing this and will be inspired by what you have to say. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.